Imagine waking up one morning and your entire world is gone. Not destroyed, not burned, not buried under rubble, just gone. No bodies, no signs of battle, no farewell written on any wall. In the deserts of what is now northwestern India and Pakistan, archaeologists once uncovered the ruins of a city so advanced, so organized, so perfectly planned, that historians had no explanation for what they found, and no explanation for why it suddenly stopped. This is the story of the Indus Valley Civilization, a society of nearly 5 million people that flourished for over 1,000 years, and then, around 1900 BCE, simply ceased to exist. What killed them? What did they know that we still don't? And is it possible that the answer is something far darker than we've been told? Welcome to Mythic Origins. Today we're going back nearly 4,000 years into the past to one of the most extraordinary civilizations that ever existed on this earth. Most people have heard of ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Greece. These are the civilizations that fill our history books, our museums, our popular imagination. But the Indus Valley Civilization, it barely gets a mention. And yet, at its height, it was larger than Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. It housed some of the world's earliest planned cities, sophisticated drainage systems, standardized weights and measurements, technologies that many ancient cultures wouldn't develop for centuries. And somehow, this entire civilization, millions of people, hundreds of cities, collapsed. Quietly, completely, and almost without a trace. The mystery isn't just what happened. The mystery is why we can barely remember that they existed at all. To understand the disappearance, you first need to understand what was lost. Around 3300 BCE, along the floodplains of the Indus River, a region that spans modern-day Pakistan, northwest India, and parts of Afghanistan, something remarkable began to take shape. Small farming settlements grew into towns. Towns grew into cities, and these weren't crude, unplanned clusters of mud huts. These were meticulously designed urban centers, streets laid out in a near-perfect grid, like a city planned by engineers rather than evolved organically over centuries. Mohenjo and Harappa, the two crown jewels of this civilization, were home to tens of thousands of people. They had multi-story brick buildings. They had granaries capable of storing food for an entire city. They had public baths, one of the world's earliest, the Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro, still partially standing today. And perhaps most astonishing, they had indoor plumbing. Every home had access to a drainage system. Wastewater was carried away through brick-lined channels beneath the streets. Cities in medieval Europe would not achieve this level of sanitation for another 3,000 years. By 2600 BCE, the Indus Valley Civilization was at its peak. Over 1,000 settlements stretched across nearly 1 million square kilometers. Merchants traded goods with Mesopotamia. A script, still undeciphered to this day, recorded their language, their laws, their stories. They were, by any measure, one of the most sophisticated societies that had ever existed. And then, without warning, it all began to fall apart. Around 1900 BCE, archaeologists noticed something deeply strange in the record. The great cities begin to shrink. The population thins out. The elaborate drainage systems fall into disrepair. Standardized weights and trade goods disappear from the archaeological layers. The script stops appearing on artifacts, and then silence. There are no grand monuments commemorating a last great battle, no mass graves suggesting a plague, no ash layers from a catastrophic fire. The Indus people didn't go out with a roar. They went out with a whisper. This is what makes archaeologists lose sleep. The decline appears to have happened over roughly 200 years, which in historical terms is sudden. But within those 200 years, there's no single event that explains it. It's as if an entire civilization simply decided to stop. People moved, eastward mostly, toward the Ganges plain. Cities were abandoned. Smaller rural settlements appeared. The urban experiment ended, and humanity stepped back from it. But the question that haunts every researcher who has ever studied these ruins is simple. why? And the answers, when they come, are far stranger and far more unsettling than you might expect. Over the decades, scholars have proposed several theories for the collapse. Each one carries its own shadow. The first theory is climate change and drought. Beginning around 2200 BCE, a global climate event called the 4.2 kiloyear event caused prolonged, devastating droughts across much of Asia and the Middle East. Evidence suggests that the Gagahakra River, a massive waterway that once supported hundreds of Indus settlements, began to dry up. The monsoon patterns shifted, crops failed, the civilization's agricultural foundation crumbled beneath it. This is the most widely accepted scientific explanation, but it's not the only one. The second theory involves the Aryan migration, or invasion, depending on who you ask. Around the same time as the collapse, evidence suggests that groups of Indo-Aryan people moved into the subcontinent from Central Asia. Early scholars, particularly in the colonial era, pointed to skeletal remains at Mohenjo-daro and claimed they showed signs of violent death. But here's the dark twist in that theory. Modern forensic analysis has largely debunked the invasion narrative. The bones scattered through the ruins weren't battle casualties. They were bodies from different time periods, likely buried during a slow abandonment. The evidence for a conquering army is, at best, thin. Then there's the theory that has no scientific consensus, but that refuses to disappear entirely. It comes from ancient Indian texts. In the Mahabharata, one of Hinduism's great epic texts, there are descriptions of ancient cities destroyed by a weapon of unimaginable power. A weapon that produces light brighter than 1,000 suns. A fierce heat and winds that carry a dark ash. Survivors lose their hair, their nails fall off. Their food becomes poisoned. Now, to be absolutely clear, this is a legendary and mythological source, not historical evidence. Ancient texts often describe natural disasters, plagues, or wars in deeply symbolic, exaggerated language. But in the 1990s, some researchers pointed to what they claimed were vitrified stones, rocks that appear to have been fused by extreme heat near Mohenjo-daro. If true, this would suggest temperatures far beyond what any conventional ancient weapon could produce. This theory is unverified and remains deeply controversial in mainstream archaeology. It is, at this point, a fringe idea, not an accepted explanation. But it hasn't been completely ruled out either. And the questions it raises about what humanity may have known and forgotten are haunting ones. Here is what I believe is the most chilling part of this entire story. And it has nothing to do with ancient weapons or supernatural catastrophes. It has to do with memory. The Indus Valley Civilization lasted for nearly 2,000 years. They built cities that functioned better than most cities in the world for centuries after them. They developed systems of governance, trade, agriculture, and urban planning that remain impressive even by modern standards. And they had a writing system. Thousands of inscribed tablets, seals, and artifacts have been found. And as of today, not a single word of their script has been deciphered. We don't know their language. We don't know their gods. We don't know their kings. If they even had kings. We don't know what they called themselves. We don't know what they believed happened after death. We don't know what their children were taught. An entire civilization's inner world, their stories, their fears, their prayers, their philosophy, is locked behind a script that no living human can read. 5 million people, 2,000 years of history. And we can't hear a single word they left behind.
4,000 years of silence behind
that is the
those
real
eyes.
darkness here.
He knows
Not
something
how
we
they
don't.
died, but how completely they were silenced.
Life
And yet,
continued here.
even in
People
silence,
came east.
they left behind
Villages
more than we
became
might
cities.
realize.
The Indus legacy
Scholars
didn't
believe
disappear.
The
It
descendants of the
transformed.
Indus people did not simply vanish. Many migrated eastward and southward, blending into the populations that would eventually form early Indian civilization. Their agricultural knowledge, their cultural practices, possibly even elements of their belief systems, may have survived, transformed, absorbed, carried forward in the DNA of 1 billion people alive today.
Careful lines.
Some linguists argue that the Dravidian languages spoken in southern India may be directly descended from the Indus language. If true, the voice of this lost civilization may still echo faintly in living speech, and the archaeological work continues. Every decade, new sites are discovered. New tools and techniques bring us closer to understanding what we've lost. Scientists are using satellite imaging to map ancient riverbeds. Genetic researchers are tracing the ancestry of modern South Asian populations back through thousands of years of migration. The Indus Valley Civilization is not entirely gone. It's waiting to be found. But that script, those thousands of inscribed symbols, remains the locked door between us and them. Crack that code, and we don't just learn their history. We hear their voices, for the first time in 4,000 years. There is a specific kind of grief that comes from looking at the ruins of a dead civilization, not grief for the dead, they are long past caring, but grief for the loss of what they knew, the loss of their questions, their mistakes, their discoveries,
The ruins are visible nearby.
the private things that make a
4,000
people a
years,
people.
100 meters
The
apart.
Indus Valley Civilization built cities we still don't fully understand. They solved problems we still struggle with today: sanitation, urban planning, equitable resource distribution. And then they were gone. Swallowed by drought, migration, collapse, or something we still haven't named, every major civilization in history has believed at its height that it was permanent, that its walls would stand, that its words would be remembered. The people of Mohenjo-daro believed the same thing. Their walls still stand, half buried in the Pakistani desert. Their words are still with us, carved into thousands of small clay tablets stacked in museums around the world. We just can't read them yet. And maybe that's the most important story of all. Not how civilizations fall, but how much they take with them when they do. If this story stayed with you, if the silence of the Indus Valley left something behind in your mind, then you already know why this channel exists. If you want more stories from humanity's forgotten past, subscribe to Mythic Origins. Every week we go back to the civilizations, the mysteries, and the dark histories that history books leave out. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll see you in the next one.